Hi everyone, I'm Emma.
I'm Jack. Welcome
Welcome
to
to
our
our
channel.
channel. You know, it's kind of interesting when you think about how much our lives have changed because of technology.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes I feel like technology changes so quickly that we don't even have time to realize what's happening.
Exactly. And one of the biggest changes we're seeing right now is artificial intelligence.
Yeah, AI is everywhere these days.
I remember a few years ago, when people talked about artificial intelligence, many of us imagined robots walking around cities and doing everything for humans.
Haha, yeah. It was always like a scene from a science fiction movie.
Exactly. A robot assistant making coffee, cleaning the house, and maybe even having conversations with people.
Actually, that future might not be as far away as we thought.
That's true. But the interesting thing is, AI is already around us. It just doesn't always look like a robot.
Right, a lot of people don't even notice when they're using AI.
For example,
Well, when you watch videos online and the platform recommends something you might like, AI is usually involved.
that's a good example.
Or when your phone recognizes your face, translates languages, suggests routes while driving, or helps organize your photos.
Yeah, sometimes AI is working quietly in the background.
Exactly.
I think that's why some people don't realize how powerful it has become.
Right. They think AI is only something for big companies or computer experts.
But actually, ordinary people are using it every day.
Absolutely.
I have to say, one thing that surprises me about AI is how quickly it has improved,
Yeah, same here.
especially with tools that can write, create images, answer questions, and help people learn.
Yeah, a few years ago, if someone told me a computer could have a natural conversation with me, I probably wouldn't have believed them.
Haha, honestly, many people would say the same thing.
But now we're here,
Exactly.
and I think that's both exciting and a little scary.
I agree. It's exciting because there are so many possibilities.
Right, but it's also scary because whenever something changes quickly, people naturally have questions.
Like, what will happen to my job?
Exactly.
Or, will humans become less important?
Yeah, those are big questions.
Before we talk about the future, I think it's worth talking about something simple.
What's that?
The way AI is already changing everyday life.
Good point.
For example, education.
Yeah, education is a huge area.
Imagine someone wants to learn English, but they don't have many opportunities to practice speaking.
Right.
In the past, they might have needed to find a teacher, join a class, or travel somewhere.
Exactly.
But now they can practice conversations anytime.
Yeah, they can get explanations, examples, and feedback much faster.
That's a big advantage.
Definitely.
But do you think there is a downside?
I think there can be.
Really? What kind?
I think sometimes people might depend on AI too much.
You mean they might stop thinking for themselves?
Exactly.
That's actually a very important point.
Yeah, technology is helpful, but we still need our own judgment.
It's like using a map.
A map.
Yeah, a map can help you find a place, but you still need to understand where you're going.
That's a good comparison.
If you just follow directions without thinking, you might get lost when something unexpected happens.
Exactly.
So maybe AI should be like a helpful assistant,
I think that's the best way to see it.
not a replacement for human thinking.
Right.
You know, something else I find interesting is that people often focus on what AI can do, but they don't always talk about what humans can do.
That's true.
What do you think makes humans different?
I think it's our experiences and emotions.
Can you explain that?
Sure, AI can analyze information and create responses, but humans understand life through personal experiences.
For example,
A person who has experienced failure may understand encouragement in a very different way.
because they know what it feels like.
Exactly.
A machine can describe sadness,
Right.
but a human being actually feels sadness.
Exactly.
That emotional understanding is difficult to replace.
I agree.
So maybe the future isn't about humans competing with AI,
Yeah, maybe it's about learning how to work with AI.
using AI to make us better.
Exactly.
That sounds much more positive.
I think so too.
But of course, there are still many questions,
Definitely.
especially when it comes to jobs.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest question people have.
Will AI take away human jobs?
That's a complicated question.
And I think that's exactly what we should talk about next.
Absolutely.
You know, when people talk about artificial intelligence, one question always comes up.
Let me guess. Will AI take our jobs?
Exactly. That's probably the biggest concern many people have right now.
Yeah, and honestly, I can understand why people feel that way.
Why?
Because work is such an important part of our lives. It's not just about earning money. It's also about our identity, our goals, and our sense of purpose.
That's a good point.
So when people hear that machines might be able to do some tasks faster than humans, it's natural to feel worried.
Yeah, especially if someone has spent many years building a career.
Right? They might think, I worked so hard to develop these skills. What happens if technology can do the same thing?
That's a difficult feeling.
It is.
But do you think AI will actually replace humans completely?
I don't think it's that simple.
What do you mean?
I think some jobs will definitely change. Some tasks that people do today may become automated.
Can you give an example?
Sure, think about customer service. Many companies already use AI chat systems to answer simple questions.
Right, like asking about opening hours, order information, or basic problems.
Exactly. Those tasks are repetitive, so AI can handle them pretty well.
But there are still situations where people want to talk to a real person.
Yeah, especially when the problem is complicated or emotional.
That's interesting because it shows that not every part of a job can be replaced.
Right? A job is usually more than just a list of tasks.
I like that idea.
For example, imagine a doctor.
Okay,
AI can help doctors analyze information, look at medical images, and find patterns.
that sounds very useful.
It is, but patients also need someone who can listen, understand their worries, and communicate with compassion.
So the human side still matters.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it.
I wonder if the future workplace will be more about humans and AI working together,
Honestly, I think that's more likely.
instead of humans competing with machines.
Right, the people who know how to use AI effectively may have an advantage.
So learning how to work with AI could become an important skill.
I think so.
That actually reminds me of something. When computers first became popular, some people were afraid too.
Yeah, they worried computers would change everything.
And they did change everything.
They really did.
But instead of eliminating all jobs, they also created new industries and new opportunities.
Exactly. Technology often removes some types of work, but it can also create new types of work.
So AI might be similar.
I think there are similarities.
Of course, AI is much more powerful than many technologies before.
Yeah, and that's why we need to think carefully about how we use it.
Let's talk about skills. What skills do you think will become more important in an AI future?
Oh, that's a good question.
What comes to your mind?
I think creativity will become more important
Why creativity?
because AI can generate many things, but humans still need to decide what is meaningful, useful, or interesting.
So having ideas matters.
Yeah, also knowing how to ask good questions.
That's interesting.
A lot of people think AI is only about getting answers, but actually, asking the right question is a huge skill.
Because the quality of the answer often depends on the quality of the question.
Exactly. Someone who knows what they need and can explain their ideas clearly will probably use AI much better.
That connects to communication skills too.
Definitely.
I think another important skill is emotional intelligence.
Yeah, I agree.
Because understanding people is something technology still struggles with.
Right, working with others, leading teams, solving conflicts, those things require human connection.
So maybe the future isn't about becoming more like machines.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Maybe it's about becoming more human.
I actually like that idea.
Because if machines become better at calculation and information processing, humans can focus more on creativity, relationships, and imagination.
Yeah, the things that make us unique.
But I think there's another challenge.
What's that?
People may need to keep learning throughout their lives.
Yeah, that's probably true.
because the skills that are valuable today might change in the future.
Right.
That can sound stressful.
It can, but I also think it can be exciting.
Why?
Because learning is becoming easier. We have access to more information and more tools than ever before.
So AI itself can help people continue learning.
Exactly.
It's kind of interesting. The same technology people worry about may also help them adapt.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most interesting things about AI.
It's not just about what AI can do for us.
It's also about what we choose to do with it.
That's a good point.
Technology itself is not automatically good or bad. A lot depends on how people use it.
I think that's something worth remembering,
Definitely.
because every generation faces new technology and new challenges,
Right. The important thing is learning how to adapt.
and maybe staying curious instead of only being afraid.
Yeah, I think curiosity is probably one of the most important skills for the future.
I think education is probably one of the areas where AI could create some really interesting changes.
Yeah, I think so too. Actually, when I think about AI, education is one of the first things that comes to mind.
Really? Why?
Because learning has always had one big challenge.
What challenge?
Everyone learns differently.
That's true.
Some people understand things quickly when they see examples. Some people need more explanation. Some people need to practice many times before something feels natural.
Right. But traditional education often has to teach many people in the same way.
Exactly. A teacher might have 30 students in a classroom, and it's difficult to give every student completely different support.
That makes sense.
But AI could make learning more personalized.
Personalized learning.
Yeah, basically, a learning system that understands your level, your mistakes, and your learning style.
That sounds really useful.
For example, imagine someone learning English.
Okay.
Maybe they are good at reading, but nervous about speaking.
That's actually very common.
Right, an AI learning assistant could help them practice conversations, correct pronunciation, and explain mistakes.
And they could practice anytime.
Exactly.
That's a big advantage because many people feel embarrassed when practicing a new language.
Yeah, especially beginners.
They might think, what if I make mistakes?
Right,
But practicing with AI feels less stressful because there is no pressure.
that's true.
I actually think that could help many people become more confident.
Yeah, especially people who don't have many opportunities to practice.
But do you think AI could replace teachers?
Oh, that's a really interesting question.
What do you think?
Honestly, I don't think teachers will disappear.
Why?
Because teaching is not only about giving information.
Right.
A good teacher motivates students, understands their emotions, notices when they are struggling, and encourages them.
That human connection is important.
Yeah, I think AI can be a powerful assistant for teachers, but the relationship between teachers and students is still valuable.
I like that idea.
Imagine a teacher using AI to save time on basic tasks.
Like preparing materials or checking simple exercises.
Exactly. Then the teacher can spend more time helping students in deeper ways.
That actually sounds like a better education system.
Yeah, because technology can handle some tasks, while humans focus on the parts that require understanding.
There's another side of AI in education that people worry about.
Let me guess, students using AI to cheat.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's definitely a concern.
Because if students use AI to do all their homework, they may not actually learn.
Right.
So how should we think about that?
I think the key is the purpose of using AI.
What do you mean?
If someone uses AI to avoid thinking, that's a problem.
But if they use AI to understand something better, that's different.
Exactly.
For example, a student could ask AI, "Can you explain this concept in a simpler way?"
Right.
Instead of saying, "Do my homework for me."
Exactly.
So the tool itself is not the problem.
Yeah, the way people use it matters.
That reminds me of calculators.
Good example.
Some people worried calculators would make students bad at math
Yeah, but today calculators are normal tools.
because students still need to understand the ideas behind the numbers.
Right.
Maybe AI will become similar.
I think it might.
A tool that helps people learn faster, but doesn't replace thinking.
Exactly.
Actually, I think one of the biggest changes AI may bring is changing what we need to learn.
That's a really good point.
What do you mean?
In the past, education often focused a lot on memorizing information.
Like remembering facts, definitions, and formulas.
Right.
But now information is everywhere.
Exactly. The important skill may become knowing how to find, understand, and use information.
So learning how to think becomes more important.
Yes.
That's a big shift.
Yeah, the future may not belong to people who know the most information.
But to people who know how to learn.
Exactly.
I really like that idea.
Me too.
Because it means education is not just about collecting knowledge.
Right. It's about developing curiosity and problem-solving skills.
And those skills can help people adapt to change.
Exactly.
Speaking of adapting, I think AI might also change how adults learn.
Definitely.
Because learning is no longer something that only happens at school.
Right. People need to keep learning throughout their careers.
Especially because technology changes so quickly.
Yeah,
Someone who graduated 20 years ago might need to learn completely new tools today.
that's true.
But AI can make that process easier.
Yeah, it can explain complicated ideas, provide examples, and help people practice.
So learning could become more accessible.
I think that's one of the most exciting possibilities.
Of course, people still need motivation.
Definitely.
Because even the best tools cannot force someone to learn.
Haha, that's true.
You still need curiosity and effort.
Exactly.
So maybe the future learner is someone who knows how to use technology, but also knows how to think independently.
I think that's probably the ideal combination.
Technology and human ability working together.
Yeah,
It's interesting how AI is changing not just what we learn, but how we learn.
that's probably one of the biggest changes we will see in the future.
And I think we're only at the beginning.
Yeah, there are probably many things we can't even imagine yet.
You know, when people talk about AI, they often imagine big changes in the future.
Yeah, like robots, self-driving cars, or some kind of futuristic world.
Right, but actually, AI is already changing many small parts of our everyday lives.
That's true. And I think those small changes are sometimes more interesting because we experience them directly.
What kind of changes are you thinking about?
Well, things like smart assistants, personalized recommendations, navigation apps, and even the way we communicate online.
That's a good point.
For example, when you use a map app and it suggests the fastest route, AI is helping analyze a huge amount of information.
And most people don't even think about it.
Exactly, they just think the app knows the way.
Haha, yeah. We've become so used to these tools that we forget how advanced they actually are.
That's true.
I remember when people used to print directions before going somewhere.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Now people just open their phone and follow the instructions.
Technology has become such a normal part of our lives.
Do you think AI will become even more personal in the future?
I think so.
What do you mean?
I think AI assistants may become more like personal helpers that understand our habits and preferences.
For example,
Maybe an AI assistant could help organize your schedule, remind you about important things, suggest healthier habits, or help you manage your daily tasks.
that sounds convenient.
Yeah, especially for busy people.
I can imagine someone saying, I have too many things to remember. I wish I had someone to help me organize everything.
Right, and AI might be able to do some of those things.
But I think some people might feel uncomfortable with that
Yeah, I can understand why.
because it means sharing more personal information with technology.
Exactly.
People might wonder, how much should AI know about me?
That's a really important question.
Because convenience and privacy sometimes have a trade-off.
Right,
The more a system knows about you, the more personalized it can become.
but at the same time, people need to think carefully about what information they share.
I think finding balance is important.
Yeah, technology should make life better, but people should still have control.
That's a good way to put it.
Because convenience is great, but independence is also important.
Speaking of independence, do you think AI could make people less capable?
I think that's possible if people use it the wrong way.
Can you give an example?
Sure, imagine someone uses AI to write every message, solve every problem, and make every decision.
Then they might stop practicing those skills themselves.
Exactly.
So it's similar to any other tool.
Yeah, a tool can help you become better, but it can also make you dependent if you never use your own abilities.
That's interesting.
Think about smartphones.
Okay,
They are incredibly useful, but many people feel uncomfortable when they don't have their phones.
that's true.
Sometimes we rely on technology so much that we forget how to do things without it.
So maybe the future challenge is not just creating better technology.
Right,
It's learning how to use technology in a healthy way.
exactly,
I think this is especially important for younger generations.
definitely.
Children growing up today will probably use AI naturally.
Yeah, for them, AI might be as normal as the internet is for us.
That's a big change.
It is.
Do you think children should learn about AI at school?
I think they should,
Why?
because AI will probably be part of their future work and daily life.
So understanding how it works is important.
Yes, not everyone needs to become a programmer, but people should understand the basic ideas.
Like understanding how to use it responsibly.
Exactly.
And maybe learning that AI does not always give perfect answers.
That's a very important point.
Because some people think if a computer says something, it must be correct.
Yeah, but AI can make mistakes.
So people still need critical thinking.
Absolutely.
Actually, I think critical thinking might become one of the most important skills in the future.
I agree.
Because when we have more information than ever before, knowing what to trust becomes more important.
Exactly.
AI can give us answers quickly.
But humans still need to ask, is this accurate? Does this make sense? How should I use this information?
That's a great point.
Technology can help us process information, but judgment is still our responsibility.
You know, there's another interesting question.
What's that?
Will AI change the way people interact with each other?
I think it probably will.
In what way?
Maybe people will communicate with AI more often for help, advice, or even conversation.
Some people already do that.
Yeah,
Do you think that's a good thing?
I think it depends.
What do you mean?
If AI helps someone learn, organize their thoughts, or practice communication, that can be useful.
But,
But if someone replaces all human relationships with AI, that could become a problem.
because humans need real connections.
Exactly.
We need friendships, family, and conversations with real people.
Yeah, technology can support our lives, but it shouldn't replace the human experiences that make life meaningful.
I really like that idea.
Me too.
Maybe the future is not about choosing between technology and humanity.
Right.
Maybe it's about using technology while protecting the things that make us human.
That's probably the biggest challenge.
And also the biggest opportunity.
Yeah,
Because if we use AI wisely, it could give people more time, more opportunities, and more ways to solve problems.
but we also need to stay responsible.
Technology is powerful.
And powerful tools need thoughtful users.
That's a great way to say it.
Thanks.
I think this topic is going to become more and more important in the coming years.
Definitely. We are still at the beginning of the AI journey,
And nobody knows exactly what the future will look like.
but we can choose how we prepare for it.
That's true. You know, after talking about all these changes, I think there's one big question left.
What's that?
What will the relationship between humans and AI look like in the future?
That's a huge question.
Yeah, because AI is not just a new app or a new device. It's something that could change the way we work, learn, and live.
I agree. And honestly, I think that's why so many people have strong opinions about it.
Some people are extremely excited.
Right? They see AI as a tool that can solve problems, improve efficiency, and create new possibilities.
And some people are worried.
Yeah, they worry about jobs, privacy, and whether technology is moving too quickly.
I think both sides have understandable reasons.
I think so too.
Because whenever something powerful appears, it creates opportunities and challenges at the same time.
That's usually how technology works.
Exactly.
Think about the internet. It completely changed the world.
It changed how we communicate, how we shop, how we work, and how we learn.
Yeah, but it also created new problems.
Like online privacy and misinformation.
Right.
So maybe AI will be similar.
I think that's likely.
It won't be simply good or bad.
Exactly. The impact depends on how people choose to use it.
I think one thing we need to remember is that technology itself doesn't have goals.
That's a really interesting point.
AI doesn't decide what kind of future we want.
Right? Humans make those decisions.
We decide how we develop it, how we control it, and how we use it.
Exactly.
So maybe the important question is not, will AI change our lives?
Because it definitely will.
Right.
Maybe the better question is, how do we want AI to change our lives?
I like that.
Because we are not just passengers watching the future happen.
We are part of creating that future.
Exactly.
You know, one thing I hope people remember is that human skills will still matter,
Yeah,
even in a world with advanced AI.
especially in that world.
Why do you say that?
Because the more technology develops, the more valuable certain human qualities may become.
Such as,
Creativity, curiosity, empathy, communication, the ability to work with others.
those are things that connect people.
Right.
And maybe those skills become even more important because machines are becoming better at technical tasks.
That's how I see it.
I think creativity is especially interesting.
Yeah,
Some people think AI will make creativity less important because AI can create things.
I understand why they think that.
But you see it differently.
Yeah, I think creativity is not just about producing something.
What else is it about?
It's about having ideas, understanding people, asking interesting questions, and seeing possibilities.
That's a deeper definition of creativity.
Yeah,
A camera can take a picture, but the photographer decides what story the picture tells.
that's a great example.
AI can create an image, but humans still decide what they want to express.
Exactly.
So maybe AI can expand human creativity instead of replacing it.
I think that's possible.
Another thing I think about is how people should prepare themselves.
Yeah, that's probably the most practical question.
If someone listening to this podcast feels worried about AI, what would you say?
I would say don't ignore it.
Don't ignore it.
Yeah, sometimes people are afraid of things they don't understand.
That's true.
Learning about AI can make it feel less mysterious.
So instead of avoiding technology, learn how to use it.
Exactly.
Even basic knowledge can help.
Right, you don't need to become an AI expert.
You just need to understand how it can help you.
And also understand its limits.
That's important.
Because AI is powerful, but it is not magic.
It can make mistakes.
Yes,
It can misunderstand information.
and it cannot replace human responsibility.
That last point is really important
Yeah,
because sometimes people talk about AI as if it will make all decisions for us.
but we still need to make choices.
We still need to decide what matters
We still need to think about what kind of society we want.
and what kind of life we want.
Exactly.
You know, I think the future with AI might actually require people to understand themselves better.
That's an interesting idea.
Because when technology can help us do more things, we need to ask what we truly want to do.
That's a good point.
For example, if AI saves us time, what will we do with that extra time?
That's a powerful question.
Will we spend more time with people we care about?
Will we learn new skills?
Will we create something meaningful?
Those choices are still ours.
I think that's a positive way to look at the future.
Yeah,
AI may change many things, but it doesn't have to change the most important parts of being human.
I agree.
Things like kindness, curiosity, relationships, and imagination.
Those things will always matter.
So maybe the future is not humans versus AI.
Maybe it's humans with AI,
Working together,
learning together.
creating new possibilities together.
Exactly.
I think that's a good place to finish today's conversation.
Yeah, I think so too.
Today we talked about how AI is changing our lives, our jobs, our education, and our future.
And the biggest message is that technology is a tool,
A powerful tool.
but the future still depends on the choices we make.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast.
We hope this conversation helped you think about AI in a new way.
Keep learning, stay curious, and don't be afraid of the future.
Because the future belongs to people who are willing to adapt.
See you next time.
Take care.